Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Artichoke Dip. My name is Rob, solo RPG gamer, and in this video we're going to be talking about a very old RPG system. As a matter of fact, it's one of the main pillars of a tabletop role-playing game genre, I guess you should say, or games, or however you want to put it, but it's one of the very first that came out on the market. And of course, I'm talking about Tunnels and Trolls, and we're going to get into Tunnels and Trolls, and I'm going to explain to you what the game system is, what it isn't. I'm going to do a quick demonstration of how well it works solo, and I think it's going to be a pretty good video. Now, before I start the video, as always, if you enjoy my video, hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, press the little bell icon, and when I upload a new video, you will get a notification telling me that I have done so. Alright guys, so let's talk about Tunnels and Trolls. So, the author of Tunnels and Trolls, Ken St. Andre, released this onto planet Earth in the year 1979. And like most fantasy role-playing games, let's use Dungeons & Dragons as an example. Over the years, it has gone through many revisions and gone through different rule sets and what they consider editions. And this edition that I have here that I'm going to be talking about is the 7th edition. Now, Tunnels and Trolls is, how can I put this? Out of all the role-playing games that we have out there at our disposal, some of them, you have to work within a very tight framework, and others are very rules-light and allow your imagination to really flourish, and will give you the ability to populate the world with your own encounters and stories and so on and so forth. Tunnels and Trolls is a very rules-light game that encompasses that and allows you to do that, which is really cool. Now, this game system, I can't say enough about it. I had picked this up years ago, and this is before the Amazon days, and I bought this through Noble Knights and when it was first released, and this was a 30th anniversary edition, that game system that I got here. And it came with a lot of cool stuff. Let's open it up and take a look, and then I'm going to get into the game and start explaining it to you. So, the version that I got here comes with the main core rule book. It came with this Monsters and Magic book, which will explain to you a little bit about that. Came with a set of alternative rules, and once I explain this game system to you, I'll explain that to you. A couple of fold-out maps, which are really cool because it's for if you have a limited area to play, such as that you can put this right out on a coffee table and use it. And then, of course, it comes with your dice, and it has these cool token punch-outs that you can punch out. Now, I've always used miniatures, so I left these cardstock tokens complete in the game system, and never really used them, along with the maps. So, what is Tunnels and Trolls, and what is it not, basically? Tunnels and Trolls is a game that uses regular D6-sided dice. It's not a D100 or a D20 system. Don't let that scare you off. And you may look at this book and think, what a small book. Don't let the size fool you either. This is a huge game with a lot of potential that can be put into it. So character creation with Tunnels and Trolls is actually very simple compared to most role-playing games, to where generally a character creation can take anywhere from an hour to an hour plus, depending on the game system that you're playing. This one comes in at about, I'm going to say at the longest, a half hour to create a character. And really what you have involved in the character creation is rolling your attributes. Now, those attributes, you have your strength, your constitution, your dexterity, your speed, your intelligence, your wizardry, your luck, and your charisma. Now you roll 3d6 to generate your attributes. Now, anytime, which is really cool about this game system, that you roll doubles, you add that, you roll them again, and you add it, and of course they are cumulative. So if you roll 3 doubles in a row, you add everything up and you add that to your attribute score. Another thing that's very cool about the game system that I like most game systems too, where you have to acquire so many experience points, and of course I'm talking about like the old school revival games, Basic Fantasy and Labyrinth Lord and the White Box they call it, and of course Dungeons and Dragons and some of those. You have to acquire experience points, and after you have acquired a certain amount of experience points, at that point you advance to the next level, and then you reap the benefits of that. Where this game is different is you look at your highest attribute score, and that's where your character starts. So, give you a good example, even though I just rolled these characters up for this game demonstration, both of these characters have started at 2nd level, which is really cool. Now, everything weighs very heavy on the attributes of the game, which is very cool. So, obviously strength, if you're a fighter, you're going to want to have a high strength. Your constitution is basically your hit points. Give you an example, I have a battle mage here. His constitution is a 21, which he starts out with 21 hit points, that's really good. Dexterity, of course you understand what dexterity is if you play any type of role-playing game. How nimble is your character? How quick is he to react to what's going on around him at that time? Now your speed. Now this right here, and even Ken St. Andre talks about it a little bit in his core book here, that he explains that a lot of people get confused on speed and what the attribute actually is. The speed is how fast your character is going to react to his outside environment around him. Not how fast your character can move, like dexterity, out of the way of danger, or how fast your character may be able to physically move on the game board, but how quick does your character react? Give you a good example here. Perhaps you have a character that is in a tavern and happens to notice a shady character to pick a pocket on a noble person in that tavern. So how quick is he to pick up on that and notice, hey, he just picked that guy's pocket? And that's how speed comes in. Now intelligence, obviously intelligence, you know, as far as your character being able to think rationally, be able to understand languages, being able to read, and obviously if you're going to be any type of magic class, you're going to want to have a higher intelligence to be able to read scrolls and spells books and so on and so forth. Then it goes into wizardry, which I love wizardry. I love the magic system of Tunnels and Trolls. It is awesome. So your wizardry attribute at that point gives you a number amount of how many wizardry points you can use for a spell, which is really cool because each spell costs a particular amount to cast, and you can at that point add as many wizardry points as you want to that spell to actually double that spell's effect and make it more powerful. So unlike a lot of game systems to where you start out at 1st level and you get these small 1st level spells, and in order to get more powerful level spells, you have to advance up the levels before you can actually attain them. In Tunnels and Trolls, a 1st level, 2nd level, 3rd level, whatever it may be, magic user casting a 1st level spell, depending on how much wizardry they have, that spell can be extremely, extremely dangerous. So that's cool. It adds a lot into it. Now, luck. Luck goes into how lucky is your character. Obviously, if your character has a low luck score, he's not going to really want to involve himself in a whole lot of gambling because basically he'll probably lose all the time. So, and then charisma. And of course, if you played any kind of role-playing games, you understand charisma. Charisma is how the world perceives you. So, you know that old saying, is you're very low charisma, you're probably more or less, well, you might be a coward. You know, they say the face of a coward is the back of his head while he's running away from the situation. Or does the world perceive your character as being the to-go-to guy? I mean, he's gone through so many dungeons and survived and defeated dragons and everything that he pretty much spits in the face of death and danger because he's faced it and conquered it and moved on. So, your attributes, and the reason why I'm explaining this is because once your attributes are rolled up, and while you are rolling your attributes, it's going to help you decide the type of character you want. Now, in Tunnels and Trolls, like a lot of other fantasy role-playing games, of course you have your normal classes, such as your mage, or your cleric, or your fighter, so on and so forth. But the cool thing is, if you have a high wizardry score, and a 17 or higher, at that point, what they consider type, which other games would consider character class, you get to choose your own type, and it's like cross-classing. So to give you a good example, and I rolled up my character here, Xantor Canis, my wizardry was a 21, so I was able to choose whatever kind of class I wanted. So I decided I wanted a battle mage. What's more cool than having a character that has the ability to be able to cast high-level powerful magic spells and have the ability to wield a weapon and wear armor and do damage as well? It's like the best of both worlds, right? So, as you move on through your character creation, which is extremely simple, the next thing you're going to come to is your kin. So, your kin is basically your race is what it is. So are you a human? Are you a dwarf? Are you an elf? So on and so forth. And you pick those. And at that point, you get to the talents. Now, the talents are really cool. I really like how Ken St. Andre set this up and how he worded it in his book. And it is, you know, he's leaving it up to your imagination to create your own talents and write them in there, whatever you... And now your talents would be like your skills. I'm going to give you a really good description. My talent I took for my Battle Mage character is concentration, so he gets to add a +5 to a magic saving roll. When he's casting a spell and he's in battle, he gets a +5 bonus to his concentration to be able to cast that spell and prevent it from failing and going off. Now, it's left up to your imagination. You can make any skill or talent set that you want and add it to your talents, but you just have to go back to your prime attribute, to which that main talent basically is derived from, and take your, at that point, your attribute modifier and add it to it. Now, attribute modifiers are extremely simple. As you roll your character up, anything above 12, you get a +1 for every point thereafter. So, example is, if your attribute is a 13, you get a +1, a 14, you get a +2, so on and so forth. Now, at a 9 or below, at that point, your attributes start taking minuses. So, at that point, a 9 would be a -1, an 8 would be a -2, so on and so forth. But what you're going to find when you roll up a character, unless you choose to do so, you're really not going to have a negative attribute score. Now, in the type of character you can choose, one that you can actually choose and play if you wanted to have more of a comical type of RPG would be, you can choose a commoner, which is your common folk. You know, they're not a magic user, not a fighter or anything like that. They're just a common everyday Joe. But you could make a pretty funny solo RPG if you wanted to have something like, I don't know, Xanar, the invincible barbarian that's been known for storming 1,000 dungeons and slaying the horrible dragon of Terrinoth and all this other, just great things about him. And unfortunately, he's stuck in this ragtag band of a bunch of commoners going through this dungeon that he has to babysit. Just an idea. And I'm almost willing to bet Ken St. Andre would probably get a pretty good kick out of that. So, anyways, Tunnels and Trolls is just an excellent game. It's really fun. It's simple. It's very easy to roll up a character. And it's one of those games that has a lot of replayability to it. Like a lot of RPG systems do, obviously. But this one I really like because it gives your imagination the ability to be able to flourish. And the mechanics of it are so simple, which gives you so much freedom. And games like that are kind of hard to find these days, because a lot of games have become so complex with the rules and then their skill sets, and then they have, like D&D, they got your feats and all this other stuff that adds into it that just overcomplicates the character. Whereas with this, it's a very simple game. Very simple, very easy read to go through the main core rule book, pick everything up, be able to roll a character up, sit down, and play. So let's talk about combat a little bit before we get into the play demonstration here. Now, combat is very, very simple. And when you roll your character, you have what's called a combat bonus. So you take the attribute modifier from your strength, your dexterity, your speed, and your luck, and you add all of those modifiers together, and you get a bonus. My battle mage has a combat bonus of plus 20. Now, with that, you also get your weapons. Now, he carries a trident, and the trident does 4d6 plus 3. So, when I am at that point engaged in battle with an opponent, I would roll the 4d6, add the 3, plus my combat modifier, and that would be my attack number. Now, each monster has what they call a monster rating, or abbreviated MR to it. And the monster rating also acts as its defense. How much damage it can, not damage, how many points basically it can resist before it takes damage, and it also doubles as its hit points. So I'm going to use a very good explanation here of a goblin. So this goblin I have here has a monster rating of 25. So it can resist 25 hits of damage, but it only takes 25 points of damage to kill it. Now, on its combat turn, it gets 3d6 roll plus 5 added to its 25. And you can see how that works out. Very simple system. Now, the only thing is with combat I can suggest is you're really going to want to have a piece of scrap paper, because these numbers are always constantly changing when you roll and you add your modifier into it. And if you have more than one character and more than one monster on the board, at that point it's going to get kind of hard to remember all these numbers. So I use a scrap piece of paper and just jot the number down. And it's fairly basic math. It's adding and subtracting. You can't get any easier than that. So now we've talked about the battle system, how simple it is to roll up the characters, the armor that you can outfit your characters with, and the game system is very simple. Like most role-playing game systems, it's going to give you a brief description of the armor, and then at that point it has a rating as to how many hits it will absorb. So a good example, this goblin here that I just talked about. So let's say it rolled an 11. So that would bring it up to a 36, okay? But let's say my character only rolled a 26. Well, at that point, there's 10 points of bleed over, basically, if you want to look at it that way, that is going to hit my character. Now, if my character is equipped with full leather armor bodysuit, and it gives him an armor protection of 5, so 5 of those 10 points are absorbed by the armor, and then the other 5 points at that point are subtracted from my hit points. And then of course once your hit points reach 0, your character's dead and or the monster. Very, very simple system. The magic system in it is simple as well. So when you go to cast a spell, you have to at that point roll what they call a save. And all saves in the game are rolled on 2d6. You roll the 2d6, and of course everything is cumulative, so if you roll doubles at that point, you add that up, you roll again, and they are, like I said, are cumulative. You just keep adding. So you look at the spell's cost, and whatever the spell's cost is, and the spells vary in numbers. It could be 2 points, it could be all the way up to 20 points, depending. You have to roll a save to see if your wizard and or battle mage, like I'm using, successfully is able to cast a spell and get the spell to actually work correctly. So at that point, you would use your 2d6, rolling it, and then taking the modifier from your intelligence to how well do they use this up here to recall that spell from the memory and to cast it out. Now, of course, if it meets or exceeds that number, at that point, your spell is cast. Now, the associated cost for the save roll, as it refers to in here, you would look at, so for example, if it was 10 points, at that point, it's going to cost 10 points to do the basic amount of damage from that spell. Now, you can add an extra 10 points of your wizardry in it to boost it up and double the damage the spell is going to do. And, of course, your wizardry at that point, once your character heals, or rest, I should say, your wizardry points at that point do recover and come back. Now, it's very cool how that works out. I really like the magic system. It's very, if you ask me, simplistic, because you look at it and you potentially can take any spell and beef it up and make a very, what would seem like almost a harmless spell, very deadly, very quick. Now, of course, there are saves to spells. If you have a spell cast on you, at that point you can roll a save roll. Obviously, all saves are done on a 2d6. Now, saves aren't just for magic. Saves can be for anything. Avoiding a trap at that point. Trying to dodge a potentially fatal, we'll say, onslaught of arrow attack from your character, so on and so forth. Everything that you could possibly imagine that your character could do a save for, you can do it as long as you're obviously having a tribute for it, which is going to be very simple. Obviously, if you're trying to dodge out of the way of, let's say, a trap, at that point, and you'd look at your attributes and you would add your dexterity, your luck, attribute modifiers, add them together, roll your 2d6, and then check your save roll. Now, there's some things that I have done a little differently with the game system that I modified for solo. I'll get into when we start playing this. But in the page, it does give you a basic outline of what it recommends point-wise for overall save. So a level 1 would be 20, a level 2 would be 25, and then of course at that point it goes up 5 points for every single level. So a level 5 would be a 40, so on and so forth. Now, where this game differs a little bit from other games, you have what's called action points. So now when your character completes a very dangerous task or a quest, at that point, action points are awarded to them. Now, of course, if you're playing solo, you may want to break that up depending on the size of your campaign. To use an example, if you're going through a relatively small dungeon and you're playing a small scenario, you may want to award them with 1, maybe 2 action points at that point. And what action points are used for is you take the action points and you, at that point, advance any one of your attributes. As your attributes go up in score, your modifiers go up, which of course, if you've been paying attention, you'll know goes into everything else in the game system. That's why I love Tunnels and Trolls. The game system weighs very heavy on the tributes, and I love that. I really do. A lot of game systems, you'll roll up these attributes, and then you'll have so many skills and these other feats that you use that they never ever really reference back to the attributes. And those game systems, I mean, they do have their ups and points to them, and their pros and their cons, I guess what I'm trying to say. But I always like being able to use my attributes because, let's face it, that's the building foundation of your character. So I think I've said enough about the attributes. So let's talk a little bit more about the other books that you get with the 7th edition. Now, with the alternative rules, when you read through this, it'll explain to you that if you don't want to use the action point system and you want to use a more traditional experience pointed system to advance your characters, you can, and this will explain to you how to do it. And it also gives you, at that point, a few more weapons and some more spells that you can use in here. So it's a little add-on for what they call alternative rules from the basic game system Tunnels and Trolls, which just advances it a little bit more. And be honest with you, for this game demonstration, we're just going to play the old school Tunnels and Trolls right here. Now, you also get this Monsters and Magic book, which is really cool because in here it gives you a few examples of monsters. And really what it is they show you how they recommend to lay them out. Now, as I said in the beginning, the cool thing about this is they give you the brief overview, your monster rating, and the basic information you need for the monster. Now, at that point, you can create any monster you want for the world. And it does go through steps to suggest how you should do that to incorporate them into this setting, which Ken St. Andre calls Trollhalla. So let's get into the game so you guys can see it a little bit more. And I think once you see it in play, you might like it a little bit more. Tunnels and Trolls is one of those games I have to say it's a very unique game. Unlike a lot of other role-playing games out there that you'll find that have a certain level of complexity to them, I think you're going to find with Tunnels and Trolls is actually very easy, simple game. One thing before I tilt the camera down and we start the game session here, I just want to explain to you, they do not say this anywhere in their book, okay? I added this on for solo play, and I use a percentile system utilizing two different color D6 dice. One represents the 10s and the other one represents the 1, giving me a randomness between 11 to 66. So if you were to pick up this book and look through it, you're not going to find it anywhere for how I play solo, and to show you guys how I use the system solo, I incorporated my own random, basically, percentile system into it. Even though a percentile system is not used in the game system, but it makes solo play much more enjoyable, in my opinion anyways. Alright, let's take a look down at the game board and let's get into this. I think the other important thing we should maybe do is get some background music going here. Alright. Alright, as you can see, we got the dungeon set up here. This is an old map that I had lying around, and I decided to, you know, throw out there and play. And right here are our two characters. So I say we get a chance to get to know our characters and explain their background stories, and jump right into this thing. So my first character right here His name is Xantar Canis, and he is a combat mage. Now, the cool thing about the combat mage is he does not have to go to a school to study magic. His powers come to him naturally, and because of that, it just gives him more time to be able to study the art of warfare. He is armed with a trident, and he also has a dagger called a dirk that he uses as well as a backup weapon if he needs it. The other character I have right here is my rogue. His name is Devin Nightbane. Devin Nightbane is armed with a broadsword. He also has a crossbow, and he keeps a smaller dagger called Nathame that is used more as a tool than a weapon to be able to pick locks and disarm traps, stuff like that. Pretty much it is a tool, and we gotta incorporate the coffee here into the game. Alright. So, both of my characters are equipped with leather armor, and I just wanted to get that out there before I started the game system. Now, my rogue, he is a human, and he obviously, his class or his type would be a rogue. So, and both their movements, because they're a medium-size character, is 30 feet. Now, if you're not aware, if you look at the game board, each square represents 5 feet. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I meant to do that. Okay. So, my, the battle mage, Xantar Canis. So, he has recently found an old spell book, and he's been looking over the spell, and he has found a very rare ingredient indeed. And unfortunately, he's been having a hard time finding it anywhere in any of the local magic shops or around. And through his research, he has found out that this rare herb that only grows in certain subterranean areas exists in this very dungeon. Now, he is going to go in and collect this herb and use it to cast a spell so he can learn a new spell and become more powerful. But he cannot do it himself, so he has invited an old friend of his, Devin Nightbane, who his skills will work out very well for him in this situation, considering he's into the craft of thievery, which, being the battle mage, he doesn't really possess. His friend knows more about locks and traps than he does. So as they approach these old ruins and following the directions that were given to them, as they descend a stairwell, they come to a door. And at that point, Devin approaches the door. Now, how I said before in my video about the random table of using the 2d6s to give me a number between 11 and 66, I'm going to use those right now. How I use it is 33 is my center number. Anything above 33 is a high probability. Anything below is a very low probability. So the first thing I want to do is I want to see if this door is locked. So I'm going to roll. My white is my 1s and my green is my 10s. I guess I should have told you that before I rolled. So I rolled 12 for locked. Let's see if it is trapped. I have rolled a 14. So the door is unlocked. It is not trapped. So Devin approaches the door, and I'm going to use some of his roguelike abilities here. So I'm going to use his intelligence and his luck, which is going to give him a bonus of 9. And at that point, I'm going to roll, as you would for a save, to see if he hears anything inside of here. And he rolled a 15. This is where the scrap paper comes in handy, I was explaining to you before. So I'm going to write that number down. 15. He has a 15. I'm going to roll 3d6 because he has a bonus of 15 to see if there's anything in there. Now how I'm going to do this is if the number exceeds his number, he does not hear anything. If the number is below, he does. And he rolls a 10. So as he listens at the door, he can hear what sounds like movement on the other side of the door. He turns to Xantar, the battle mage, and at that point he gives him some hand gestures, explaining to him he hears something inside. Now, Devon Nightbane quietly pulls his broadsword from the sheath and readies it, as Xantar Canis readies his trident just in case there's something horrible beyond the door. He slowly opens up the door and peers inside. Inside, I'm going to roll my percentile dice because I have all my encounters on a percentile. 34. As he opens up the door slowly and looks in, to his horror, he sees a giant snake slithering through a pile of bones and what's left of other unfortunate dungeon adventurers that came through that fell victim to this creature as it sits in the center of the room, slithering, looking for its next meal. So now, at this point, we're going to go into the initiative phase. How I do initiative is I roll 2d6, and at that point with my characters, I'm going to add the dexterity bonus into it. With the monsters, I roll 2d6 and I add that up. The reason why I do that with solo is it gives you more of an advantage as a solo player over the monsters rather than having your characters overrun all the time. So, let's get started. Giant snake. Oh, I guess I should just write this down. I'm going to put counter, battle mage, rogue. So the encounter has 7. Battle mage has 5. Plus 3 for his dex, which will give him an 8. And then the rogue has 16. Alright. So, obviously a no-brainer. The rogue will act first, being the quickest, followed by the battle mage, and then the snake. So I think with his broadsword, at this point, he's going to sneak up on this thing and see if I can at least behead it. I think that would be the smartest thing to do, but we'll see how this plan works out. So 5, 10, 15. So now, my save to see if this thing was oblivious will be 20. So I'm going to roll my save, and I'm going to use my luck and my dexterity, which I'll get a plus 12 bonus to. Let's see how that works out. So I got 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Not quite. So as I get closer to the snake, I step on an old human bone that makes a loud crack, which the snake immediately senses. Turns around and hisses with its fangs open, ready to deliver its venomous bite into my rogue. But before it can, my rogue swings its broadsword at it. Now, my rogue has a combat bonus of plus 18, so, and he's using his broadsword, which is 3d6 plus 4. So let's see how this all adds up. So, we got 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Alright. The snake has a monster rating of 30. So, at that point, there really is no point at rolling any combat dice here for its defense because, well, it's at a 30. So it's a wash. As the snake noticed him coming in and he swung his broadsword, the snake at that point was able to draw its head back out of the way of the swinging blade, which now gives my battle mage his opportunity to do what he's going to do. So as my battle mage steps into the room, he notices all the bones around him. And at that point, I think he's going to cast this spell called Dem Bones Gonna Rise. So let me get to that spell. So Dem Bones Gonna Rise is a conjuring spell. It costs 10. It has a range of 10 feet and it lasts 2 combat rounds. What does it do? 1 skeletal remains will basically animate from the dead and follow my command. So at that point, he's going to attempt to cast that. So his save for this, obviously, is going to be his intelligence plus his luck, which is going to give him 6, and I have to have a 10 or better. So let's see how this plays out. I rolled a 10 plus my bonuses gives me a 16. My spell goes off, and I am only going to, because the spell cost 10 points to cast, and I only got 21, and we just entered the dungeon. I don't want to waste all of my wizardry points, so I'm going to just put the base cost into it, and that's going to take my wizardry down to 11. And I am going to put a set of remains on the board that will animate at the beginning of next round. So now it's the snake's turn. As the snake at this point withdrew its head and recoiled to avoid the blow of the broadsword, it comes in for a venomous attack. Let's see how it does. So the snake has a monster rating of 30, and it gets 3d6 plus 3. So let's see how the snake does. The snake rolls 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He rolls a 13. And my combat for Devin Nightbane is a plus 18. So, that point, Devin is able to avoid his attack. And the initiative will start all over again with my rogue. My rogue is going to attempt to attack this thing again. So using his broadsword, he's got 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 30, 31. Ha! He's got 31. So the monster rating is a 30. So now the snake is down to 29 points. It has taken a hit. Now, the battle mage's turn. While the snake's occupied here, it doesn't happen to notice at this point that these these remains form together as a skeleton and grab a rusty blade from the dungeon floor. At that point, actually, I'm going to have to put him 5, 10. Sorry, remains were here. Then they rise. So the snake will see it. I can't have it over there. It's got to be within 10 feet of me. And at that point, my sorcerer orders it, my battle mage, sorry, orders the skeleton to advance and attack. Now, its monster rating is my strength and my constitution modifiers added together, which gives it an 18. And I'm going to say with the sword, I'm going to use just a basic 2d6 plus 2 roll for that thing for its attack. So it advances 10 feet. My battle mage at that point takes a step to stay within 10 feet of the skeleton. Oh, doubles. So there's 4. Oh, more doubles. So I had 4 and now 8. So that's going to be 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And he has 17. Which is going to be a total of 35. At that point, the snake is going to take 5 more points of damage, which is going to bring it down to 24. Now, very, very cool. So now the snake's got 2 opponents to deal with here. It's got the rogue, and now last month's dinner has come back to haunt it. So now at this point, I'm going to say the snake goes after the skeleton. It's the last one that attacked it, so let's go with that. The snake at this point gets 3d6 plus 3 to attack, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It does 9, and he has an MR rating of an 18. Well, close but no cigar. So no damage will be done. And now it goes back to, at this point, my rogue. And the rogue is going to take his turn. And still using his broadsword, which is 3d6 plus 4. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And he does hit, but, well, he doesn't hit. No damage is taken at this time from the rogue. Man, that snake is tough. So now it is my Battle Mage's turn again. It's going to be the last round for him because he only lasts 2 rounds. So he's going to order the skeleton to attack again. So now at this point, the skeleton has 2d6 plus 2. And he gets 9, 10, 11 plus 18. Which is going to give him 29, which is close, but no cigar. So as the skeleton, at that point, goes to swing the sword at the snake, just grazing it, at that point the skeleton stops, and its bones just start to, at that point, dissolve and break down into dust that just falls into the floor, and the sword makes a clinking noise as it falls to the floor. And that spell is over. And now it's the snake's turn again. And the snake's going to try to attack my rogue. Now he gets 3d6 plus 3. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Here's the part that stinks. He rolled doubles, so now he gets to roll again. Oh god, this is going to be bad. And another 12 to that. Should bring it up to 26, but they are doubles again. 6 and 8. 34. Holy crap. Okay, so I got a combat bonus of 18. Let me see. I could try to dodge the attack by using a save. And that would require luck and dex to be able to get out of that. And that would give me 12. So let me see if I can dodge. If not, I'm going to take some damage here. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. New dice as he tries to dodge. The snake wraps its head around and its fangs dig into his leg. Devin at that point screams out in pain from its fangs digging into its muscle tissue. And he is going to take minus 5 points. Run up for his armor. 29 minus 18. He's going to take 11 points of damage, which is going to take him to 10 hit points. Wow. That hurts. Okay, Battle Mage's... No, it's now the Rogue's turn. The Rogue... now in a lot of pain, obviously, is going to kill this snake. Ooh, well, that's good though. So we have 5, but I got 2 1s that are doubles. So this is potentially good. Let me roll them doubles over. It's another 8. Which is going to bring it up to 13. And then at that point, 13 plus my combat bonus of 18. Which is now going to bring me up to a grand total. Sorry about that, my dog came in here, distracted me for a moment. Of 31. So he does 1 point of damage more to that snake. So now the snake went from 24 down to 23 points of damage. Now the battle mage right here is going to have to step up. And I think what the battle mage is going to do is he's going to advance in with his trident and stab at the snake. Let's see how it works out. So my battle mage gets 4d6 plus 3 to attack, plus a plus 20 in combat. Ooh. So we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But the cool thing is I got 2 3s that are doubles. And I got another 12, which are also doubles again. So, he delivers 31 to him. Now, as I explained to you before, their monster rating acts, if you want to think about it, like their armor class as well as how many hit points they have. So, he's going to take another point of damage, which is going to take him down to 22. It is the snake's turn again. The snake doesn't look very happy with him. Rears its head up, shows its bloody fangs from biting him, and goes to strike at the battle mage. At this point, the battle mage, I'm pretty confident he might make it through. Let's see. Okay, we have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, he's got a combat of 20, and he just rolled 14. That is new dice, basically, and he is safe, and initiative goes back to Rogue again. At this point, my Rogue's going to keep carrying on with what he's doing and just try hacking and slashing at this snake until he can take it down. And he has rolled a 10 plus 18, which gives him 28, and nope, it's not enough. It is a miss. My battle mage will take another shot at it with his trident. Yo, this is going to be good. So we got 17, 18, 19, and I rolled doubles on 6s. So I'm going to roll those again. And we got another 11. Which is going to give me a grand total of 30. And unfortunately, I do hit. So 30 is the monster rating. We hit. But there's no extra damage to carry over. So it does not take any damage, if that makes sense. Now, it goes back to the snake. And the snake's gonna take another turn. And the snake gets 3d6 plus 3. Ooh. Now, the snake is going to go after the battle mage again. So he initially rolled a 10, but the bad thing is there's doubles in there. So let's roll that again. Oh, that's not bad at all. So the snake rolled a grand total of 13. He's got a combat bonus of 20. Yeah, it's not going to happen. He does not hit, which is very cool. Alright, back over to my rogue. Oh, something's got to happen here quick. Well, I was hoping for doubles, but hey, So I got 9, 10, 11, 29, and unfortunately it's a near miss. Very near to the giant snake, but still a miss. And now it's time for my battle mage again. Ooh, doubles again. Alright, I can handle this. Okay, so we got 16, 17, 18. Let's keep these doubles rolling. $19, $20, $21, $22 plus 20. It's a grand total of 42. So the snake takes 12 points of damage, which now brings it down to 10 points, hit points. It was at 30, it's now 10. So the battle mage sees his opportunity and takes the trident, digging it into the belly of the snake. As the snake recoils and flops around, blood and entrails start to ooze from the wound onto the dungeon floor. But the snake is not dead yet. It is ready to attack again. Only angered by the pain, it fixates its eyes on the battle mage again, showing its giant fangs and striking. Let's see what he does. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's got a combat bonus of 20 for new dice. The snake misses. Back to the rogue. Alright. I think... yeah, the rogue's going to take another turn with his broadsword, and at that point we're going to try something different here. He rolls his 3. Well, I got doubles. That's good. That's always a start. So I got 7. Even if the doubles are 1s, they're still doubles. Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 plus 18. Does 32 points of damage. At that point, the snake takes 2 more points of damage, which now brings it down to 8. It is slowing down and beginning to slow from the blood loss of its wound. But, nevertheless, the snake sees an opportunity to feed on fresh adventurers in its dwelling. It fixates on the rogue again and decides to try its luck again at killing the rogue. $14, $15, $16, $17. Ooh, lucky, lucky. He has a combat bonus of 18, so he has withstood that attack and will take no damage this turn. At this point, Devin takes a step back and is going to use his turn to sheathe his broadsword, draw his crossbow, and ready it with a bolt to take a shot at the snake. The battle mage at that point continues his attack on with the snake. Doubles, promising. So we got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Roll them doubles over again. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 21 plus 20 gives me a grand total of 41, which does another 11 points of damage to this thing. So as he's readying his crossbow, getting ready to fire a bolt into the thing's skull and kill it, he sees the tip of the trident come bursting out of the top of the snake's head, and gray matter and blood oozes from the top of the snake's skull as it falls lifeless to the floor, and its segmented section sitting there twirling and flopping about the dungeon floor. The battle mage at that point is trying to shift his weight on his feet and not get flung across the dungeon from the massive weight of the snake. And it is dead. Alright, so now at this point the snake is dead. There's a lot of remains in the room. I'm going to use my percentile dice and see, of course, the green one being my 10s, the white one being my 1s. Let's see if there's anything in this dungeon room. 33 being the mid number, anything above 33 being a high percent, anything below being low percent. 35%. So as they scour and search the room, obviously they see many doors surrounding this area of the room. And we're going to use this as a save on both of them for their intelligence and their luck. So I'll get a +6 with Xantar. Let me see how he... So he's going to get a 16. Not quite enough. Let me see if Devon is +6 to intelligence, +3, which is going to give him a 9. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, as they search the remains of the room, hoping to find the herb that they have come to gather for the spell, they do not find. But what they do find, though, amongst the piles of bones, is they locate 10 gold pieces from the victims. And at that point, they scoop them up, put them into their coin pouches, and decide to move on to another room. So, I think, well, maybe we should do one more room, eh? So I'm going to say my battle mage, at that point, approaches this door and calls the rogue over. So as the rogue approaches the door, with his crossbow obviously still in his hand, he's looking at the door. Now, let's see, is the door trapped? 41%. Oh yeah. Is the door locked? 21. Nope, it is trapped. Now, he does have a talent to pick, locks, and disarm traps. He's got a +9 to the save roll. But he's got to see the trap first. So, with that particular save, I'm going to use his luck plus his intelligence, which is going to give him 70, give him a +9 to this roll. Let's see if he finds it. No. The trap is very concealed very well, and he does not see the foot trigger whatsoever. As he walks up to the door to open the trap, to open the door, he hears a clicking noise. And as soon as he hears the clicking noise, an arrow flies out from a hidden area next to the stonework in the dungeon wall. And at that point, impales him. But fortunately, with his armor and the way that he's positioned, he only takes 1 point of damage from the arrow. It could have been much worse had he been further over. But nevertheless, he takes a point of damage from that. He's down to 9. The door opens. What is on the other side of the door? Let's find out. 15. As the door opens and spooks very large bats that were probably hanging out at the ceiling that now come whooshing down towards the adventurers. And now we will go into our initiative to see who goes first. So alright, let's roll these 2d6 and see what the bats get. They have an 8. The Battle Mage, cool, 12. Plus, they're doubles, they get to roll again. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Plus his dex is 3, gives him 23. He is moving extremely quick. The Rogue gets an 8, and his dex is 9, which will give him 17. Alrighty. Okay. So, the Battle Mage gets to act first. The Battle Mage takes a step in using his trident and swings at the first bat. We got doubles, so we got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Reroll them doubles. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Plus 20. Bring them up to 43. The bats only have a monster rating of 20. He does 23 points of damage to that bat that only has 20. As the trident comes down, it just cleaves the bat. And a wing goes flying off as what's left of the bat bounces off the ground, and what's left of its body comes sliding to a grinding halt in here, leaving a blood trail behind it. Alright, now it is the Rogue's turn. Fortunately, the Rogue already has a crossbow bolt ready to go. He's just going to fire a bolt at this thing. And he gets 5d6 to do that. So we get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, plus 18. So he gets a grand total of 31. Bat, however, only has 20. It takes 11 points of damage. As the bolt comes out, it boom hits the bat, killing it in mid-flight. Alright, so I think you guys got a pretty good understanding of how Tunnels and Trolls works. What a good game it is, solo. And as you can see, there's a lot of emphasis on the combat system, and works out very well. It's a very cool system. Like I said, the one thing that you got to remember about it is you're going to want a piece of scrap paper to keep by, because of course you are going to have to keep adding numbers up. But you know what, once you get into the flow of things, it's really not that bad. And I have to admit, this is actually very cool. And encountering the snake right off the bat, you know, I wish that went a little bit differently, but you know what? Actually, I'm kind of glad that that happened, because you got to be able to see how the magic worked and the battle sequence and everything. And, you know, both characters didn't emerge. They did emerge victoriously, but one of them did get wounded in the process. And all in all, I think it was a very cool encounter. And it gives you a good idea of how the game system actually works, guys. Now, this is Tunnels and Trolls. Now, with this game, of course, to pick up this set, because like I said, I bought this quite a few years ago, it's pretty pricey because it's a 30th edition set. So, at this point, it's kind of like a collector thing. But I'm more than certain you could probably find pretty cheap rules on RPG Now in a PDF form you could, at that point, download and use. Or you could probably find older editions of Tunnels and Trolls on eBay or other game outlets to be able to play. And as I said, as far as simplicity, you really don't get any simpler than Tunnels and Trolls. It's a very, very simple game. Now, with that being said, that I'm not saying that it takes away from any complexity or fun of it. As a matter of fact, the fact that it is such a simple game adds more into it and gives you more freedom to do what you would like to do with it, which I love, and I stated that in the beginning of the video. But I think at this point, guys, I think we're gonna put a cap on this video. I'm gonna continue playing in this dungeon. Now, like most game systems, this is the first time that I've actually done Tunnels and Trolls on this channel. I've talked about it before, given some examples, and if I was to put a rating on this for solo play, you know, 1 out of 10, this would definitely be up there. I would say 9 out of 10, just for the fact that it is so simple and easy to learn. And if you're just getting into role-playing games, you only have really a few pages of rules to read to be able to understand it, create a character pretty quickly. Unlike some other game systems too, where you have to read and then they reference you to different charts throughout the book, to where you're spending more time flipping through pages, going back and forth through a book, trying to create a character. This makes it very simple and easy to get right out the get-go. And the nice thing is, you can create characters on the fly as you go, as well with monsters. And it's a very cool system if you have somebody, perhaps they're new and they're just getting into RPG, and maybe you're going to teach them. This would be a really good system to teach them on. Very simple, and you know, most of the stuff you already have in your home to play the game. You just need some six-sided dice, scrap paper, pencil, and go from there. But the one thing I do want to bring up is you can really tell with this game system what Ken St. Andre did say about, and I wholeheartedly agree with, and I talk about it in my videos all the time, is having a really good visual representation on the game board of what's going on. And as you can tell with this game system, it really does help out and does enhance it. So, with that being said, guys, if you liked my video, hit that like button. And please subscribe, hit the little bell icon, and you will get notified when I make a new video. But I think at this point, it's time to end the video, and I will see you next week. Game on, my friends, and for all my subscribers out there, from the bottom of my heart, guys, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. give me the support, your great comments to really encourage me to keep making more videos. And for my new subscribers I picked up this week, thank you very much. Welcome to the channel. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you can go ahead and jump on Facebook. I'll put a link at the bottom of the video. And join the Artichoke Dip RPG page. There's lots of great stuff in there where people are talking about solo play, different links to other websites for all kinds of information to be used for solo play, and game systems out there that are available. Really cool community, and it's really taken off. There's a lot of good people on there, and I love it. Now, if you do decide to jump into the group, and once you get in, don't forget to hit me up and say hello. I always love hearing from you guys. Alright, I think we're going to end this video. I got to get some more coffee for this cup before I keep going further into the dungeon. Talk to you guys later. This is Artichoke Dip out.